Good afternoon. I'm Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown. Before Garen Killian's bond hearing today, I had a message to share with you about my gratitude for what all these law enforcement agencies are doing to help us investigate this tragic case. But now, I want to say that I am outraged. The first suspect we arrested in connection with this mass shooting was given a $200,000 bond. Better yet, protect the lives and property of our citizens when someone already charged with 7 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, get out of jail on bond. I believe he should have never been back on the street after Hickory Police Department charged him with those crimes. He bonded out of jail on April 14th. 48 days. 48 days. Later, all of our lives changed. This is frustrating. It's infuriating. But despite my disappointment about this bond, this investigation continues. And I want our great community to know that to this hour, there have been 12 law enforcement agencies working hand in hand, pursuing leads and developing suspects. They are interviewing witnesses, collecting evidence, and processing an extensive crime scene. They have worked continuously since the call came in Sunday morning. The investigation thus far has spanned over 6 counties. There are facets of the investigation that are time sensitive and fast paced. And there are others, such as crime scene processing, which are slow and methodical so that we make sure that we get it right. The complete disregard for life by the individuals involved affects not only the victims and the people directly involved, it affects people throughout our community and well beyond that. This is evident by the calls, the posts on social media, and the conversations I've had with our citizens. But what I already know, but has been repeatedly confirmed, is that our community is amazing. The overwhelming support that we as law enforcement have received is incredible. For that, I thank our community. In closing, I commit to you, our citizens, that the law enforcement team assembled in this case will continue to work aggressively and continuously until everyone, and I mean everyone, responsible for these senseless crimes that shook our community to the core are arrested, charged, and prosecuted. Chief Bear.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. My name is Reed Bear, and I am the City of Hickory Police Chief. I'm going to echo some of what Sheriff Brown just said. It is beyond frustrating that someone with pending charges for multiple counts of attempted murder is out in the community in the first place. It is unimaginable that this same person can then be charged with additional charges from a separate incident to include attempted murder and could be out in our community tonight. We are regularly asked by our community members, why should they come forward with information about crimes being committed if the person is just going to be back in the neighborhood? And in cases like this one, it leaves me with no answer for them. Despite that, The Hickory Police Department, from the beginning, has worked with the Sheriff's Office and our federal and state partners. We will continue to work alongside the Catawba County Sheriff's Office and our local, state, and federal partners to bring all the individuals responsible for this heinous act to justice. We are very lucky that we have the close partnerships we do in Catawba County. And with the community's help, it will be these partnerships that lead to the successful outcome of this investigation. I'm going to turn it over now to Major Aaron Turk.
Thank you, Chief Bear. Thank you all in the media for coming. I'm going to give you an update on our investigation at present and hopefully some forecast on where it's going. We'll certainly take questions at the end. If I don't get something that you're hoping to hear, please ask. As you already know, we've made an arrest in the case. You've heard a lot about Garen Killian. That arrest is for attempted first-degree murder. We're also now announcing that we have a charge of attempted first-degree murder on Tolan Huff. Huff is not in custody. We're looking for Mr. Huff, asking for the public's assistance in finding Mr. Huff, and we're asking the media to broadcast Huff's image and the outstanding charge so that he can be located. I'd be happy to. That's a good thing. So everybody get what they need? Okay. Also, we're going to announce today charges that are filed by North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement Division. They are going to offer specifics on those charges. Concerning the status of the investigation, as you've heard, it's a mass shooting. Been over 80 shots fired at that location. The FBI is still on the crime scene, working bullet trajectory. It's, in my experience, one of the most complex, probably the most complex shooting investigation I've ever seen or been any part of. And it's vital that we understand where every shot was fired from, if that's possible, and what the intended target of that shooter was, if possible, and then who was the actual target or the recipient of that gunfire, person to person. As we establish that and gather competent evidence, we are in near constant consultation with our district attorney's office about charges. And we're filing charges that we feel like at this point are substantive and that our district attorney's office can take to court immediately and support by way of facts. Again, the FBI is still working on bullet trajectory at the crime scene. I don't know when they're going to be finished. I understand that work, again, is ongoing. We're going to travel out there and get an update on that here in the coming days. We do expect additional charges in this case, multiple persons, multiple charges. The gentleman that have been charged and Mr. Killian that's been arrested will also be facing additional charges. One last thing, and then I'll eventually take your questions at the end. As you know, there's been a homicide in this mass violence event. We are looking at that homicide along with all of the other injured parties. We've received questions, and they're understandable questions, about why we have not charged someone in the homicide yet. Again, we have to be able to account for every shot, the shooter, and the intended recipients and the actual recipients of those shots before we can discern who might be responsible for the homicide in this situation. I'll be back later for your questions. Special Porter.
Good afternoon. Special Agent in Charge Porter with North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement. We are announcing today that arrest warrants have been obtained for 2 individuals. They are the individuals believed to be responsible for organizing and hosting the party. The first one is for Mr. Raekwon Craig. He's been charged with 3 counts of aiding and abetting underage possession of alcohol. All right?
There you go, sorry.
You see that one? And the other arrest warrant, similar for Mr. Patrick Tolbert, same 3 charges of aiding and abetting.
We don't have that.
Don't
picture.
have the second,
We
okay.
don't have that picture available. We'll
That's
get it
right.
to you.
We can
I'll
get
send
that to
out
you.
a release.
But it's the same charge as 3 counts of aiding and abetting underage possession of alcohol by a person over the age of 21. I'll keep my comments brief, and then I can answer any questions at the end.
Good afternoon. My name is James Barnacle. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigation here in North Carolina. First, the law enforcement coordination on this investigation has been nothing short of astounding. I want to thank our partners at Catawba County Sheriff's Office and Hickory Police Department and the State Bureau of Investigation and Alcohol Enforcement, along as many other law enforcement agencies that have stepped in and helped on this investigation. The partners here are partners for the long haul. We are not in it for just this situation. We are in to work together to address crime across this country. When we got the call from Catawba County, we surged resources to assist the county with the evidence response team, investigators, agents, intelligence analysts, and scientists. Once the news of this tragic situation was relayed to the director of the FBI, Director Kash Patel, he called me Sunday and asked if the FBI or the local and state authorities needed additional resources. He surged lab personnel from Quantico down here to do a trajectory analysis of the crime scene. Director Patel also reiterated the FBI's top priority is to crush violent crime in the United States, and we will work on that here in North Carolina. The FBI has been working on the Walnut Acres road scene. We expect to wrap up our work this afternoon or evening. What we have been primarily working on is, as you have heard, we are processing evidence and we are looking for the trajectory of rounds. Let me add some perspective of why we have been there for 4 days. You've already heard at least 80 bullets were fired. Our teams are working to trace the trajectory of every single round. Once someone makes the choice to pull a trigger of a weapon, the bullet does not care where it goes. Our job is to trace where it came from and where it stopped. The FBI is uniquely qualified for this crucially important task of gathering evidence. In this case, sadly, gunfire hit victims. Other bullets went into the house, through fences, skipped off concrete, hit vehicles, and even burrowed into the ground. I was just out at the scene a little while ago this morning, late this morning, and our evidence response team has put lasers and scopes and trajectory. There's a lot of science behind it, but we will account for the vast majority of the rounds, including the round itself and fragments. We have recovered rounds from the scene. Finally, to the District Attorney's Office, the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of North Carolina, to the citizens here in North Carolina, people will be held accountable for these heinous crimes. The FBI will work with our partners. We will continue to partner to address the violent crime here in the state of North Carolina. I will now turn this over to the State Bureau of Investigation.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Laws. I'm a special agent in charge with the State Bureau of Investigation in the Northwestern District. As you know, the SBI was requested by the Sheriff's Office on Sunday, and since Sunday and that day forward, there have been agents on the ground all across Western North Carolina from 4 different districts and multiple counties, from crime scene agents to investigators to other individuals with specialized skill sets that have assisted in this investigation and will continue. All resources at the disposal of the SBI and the state of North Carolina will be available here for this investigation, and we will be here until the end. Director Hawley's here and has assured us that we have whatever we need to assist our local partners, whether it's Hickory, Catawba County, any of the federal agencies, to make sure that the people are held accountable for these crimes that they have committed. These crimes are heinous, and having grown up in this community, are unbelievable. I agree with the chief and the sheriff that it's hard for us to go out, spend countless hours around the clock, arrest these people, and then they're back in the community. But rest assured, the SBI and all of these partners that you see up here will not stop until those are held accountable or arrested. Thank you.
All right, I'll take your questions. Before we begin that, if you have a question for a specific agency other than the Sheriff's Office, we can get another of the representatives up here, but I'll start. Dave Fairdy.
Aaron, with the help from the FBI and them doing all the analysis out there, do you have a better picture on how many different weapons and people might have been involved in this gunfire now?
That picture is becoming more clear. Again, you've heard a lot about the trajectory work by the FBI. That's been invaluable. We understand there's multiple shooters. Again, you've heard multiple rounds. The last count I was given was 80, at least, that have been confirmed. We can tell you now that the shooting began from a neighboring yard that was an elevated position from the house where the crime scene is now being investigated. In response to that initial gunfire, other gunfire erupted from around the home itself and out into the front yard and by the roadway there on Walnut Acres Drive. We're trying to determine if that gunfire was initiated and then second gunfire was directly responsive, or if other shootings were taking place during that time. That's going to take us a while to discern, but as you've heard, we're going to find those answers and bring those people to justice.
Quick follow on that. So up on that hillside, somebody, at least one person was shooting down. Do you know how many people were up on that hillside shooting down at the party goers?
The evidence shows there were multiple people on that. I think you're referring to it as a hillside. We don't have an exact count to offer as I stand here, but more than one.
And the types of weapons, have you figured that out?
We're not releasing that right now. Yes, ma'am.
Do we know whether Sean Hood, the homicide victim, was the intended target?
We do not know if he was the primary target or perhaps even a sole target. He certainly was victimized in this, and certainly him and his family have suffered the most traumatic victimization from this. He certainly was a target, and again, as I talk about intended victims or intended recipients of gunfire than the actual recipients, we're working to discern if Mr. Hood was an intended target or just a victim that suffered his death during that tragedy. Yes, ma'am.
And where do you place Killian in all of this? As far as, was he in the yard? Was he, as far as for the intended?
Garen Killian. Garen Killian, our evidence is telling us, is among the persons responsible for the hillside shooting. We are looking at him, Mr. Huff, and others for that seemingly uninitiated and unprovoked attack. We're not going to offer specifics about suspects' involvement and by way of direct action at this time. I can tell you, though, from my understanding, that Mr. Killian, Garen Killian, and Tolan Huff are at least two of the defendants that have been charged in the city of Hickory shooting there at the Close Party City. And so they're involved in that, and then now they're involved in this. Yes, ma'am.
Was that, so do you believe that April shooting was connected?
We're not seeing any evidence right now of a direct connection, but we certainly hadn't ruled that out. Dave?
So the killing guy and the other guy that you have the picture up with the charges, the single charge,
Right.
the attempted. Do you think that those two, have you found that they were at the party prior to this? Something might have happened, they left and then came back.
We're hearing that, and we're trying to discern their exact movements and timeline. I can't offer articulate information on that as I stand here right now. I want to make sure that I get everybody. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Can you tell us anything about a motive or why the shooting took place yet?
We're certainly investigating and trying to discern the motive. We can tell you that some of these people are affiliated with gangs. They've made those admissions to us themselves. We do not know if this incident was a gang act in its entirety, or that some of the people involved are affiliated in gangs. We're working that as a motive, and then other possibilities. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any clarity around if either Cuff or Killian were the initial shooters?
I can't answer that with exacting determination as I stand here, but they were on the hillside when the initiation of the shooting began. Yes, ma'am.
Were the majority of the people at the party over 21 or under 21? I don't know if that's a better question for ALE.
I'm going to let ALE address that, and any alcohol-related questions or party promotion questions will be alcohol law enforcement. He's over here. Sir, go ahead.
Would you mind repeating your question for me?
Were the majority of the people at the party over 21 or under 21?
Can't say what the majority were, but we know that there were numerous underage and several juveniles as well. Yes, ma'am.
Is Patrick Tolbert considered a resident of the 1125 Walnut District?
That is one that I will defer to Major Turk in the Sheriff's Office for right now. Yes, sir.
Could you please tell us how many people were shot?
I'll also defer that to Major Turk.
He answers the alcohol-related questions and the party promotion questions.
Yes, sir.
And on the party promotion, and what do we know about that party? Where was it promoted? Who was the target audience?
So it seems that those details are still coming in, but that a lot of this is shared on social media, and that these move around. And a reason that we try to address these is that they are a common cause for violence like this. Just in this year alone, since January, we've investigated 9 such events where an organizer or promoter has coordinated an illegal alcohol event. And in most of those, ALE agents have uncovered alcohol violations, but also other serious criminal activity like narcotics and firearms. So we're very happy to work with Sheriff here and all the other partners to hopefully be able to prevent some of these things. Yes, sir.
Do we believe that the homeowners or other owners' property receive payment or compensation of some sort to host the parties?
We're still working to figure that out right now. Yes, ma'am.
Those who were charged for this underage drinking, have they been arrested yet?
The 2 that I announced there, no, their arrest warrants are active, and we're seeking them at this time.
So as of right now, Killian's the only one arrested, right?
I'll let the major confirm that.
Did you believe anybody else was responsible for promotion, or do you think the 2 that were arrested are the ones?
Charged.
Yes.
We are certainly pursuing that to try to get anybody that is involved and responsible. Those 2 arrest warrants have been issued due to the facts that we believe allege their involvement in it.
Now, do you believe Mr. Hood was at all responsible for promotion?
Still working to figure that out, and I'll refer it back to Major Turk. Thank you.
Party promotion question, do people pay to get into the party?
We're trying to figure that out. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, who hadn't asked a question yet? Anybody that hadn't got, yes, sir?
Could you tell us, Major, how many people were shot?
We have, I believe, 8 to 10 confirmed persons that suffered gunshots, and then others that were injured, perhaps as they were fleeing or otherwise there during the gunfire, but not actually suffering gunshots. Yes, sir.
Are any of those injured still in the hospital currently?
I don't have that information as I'm up here right now. All right, that's going to be it for questions. Thank you.